In this video, we'll explore the most complicated trucks ever built, from monsters with 24-wheel drive to vehicles that look more like rolling laboratories than trucks. With complex suspension systems, advanced military technology, and futuristic designs, these trucks push the boundaries of engineering. Join us and find out whether we're looking at sheer brilliance or if some of these designs simply cross the line into the unnecessary. Get ready to be amazed. Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG 6x6. When someone at Mercedes thought the G-Wagon needed a little more, they didn't hold back. The result was the G63 AMG 6x6, a six-wheel drive beast with 3 axles, adjustable air suspension, and independent differential locks, and a price tag that could buy you a small island. This truck was born as a military project for the United Arab Emirates, but the German engineers decided that the civilian world also deserved something this ridiculously over the top. And why not? Nothing says extreme luxury like being able to climb a sand dune with an espresso in hand. Each axle has its own control system, and all 3 differentials can be locked independently to cross any terrain imaginable or simply to park in front of a mall in Dubai. The central inflation system lets you adjust tire pressure in real time, which is very useful for crossing deserts or for when the valet doesn't park it quite right. Is it cool? Of course. Is it unnecessarily complex? Also. The most ironic thing is that all that engineering is used, in most cases, for Instagram appearances and not on the battlefield. A beast designed for war, tamed by the whims of luxury. MercedesBenz, the Soviet truck with 24-wheel drive. When the Cold War reached levels of atomic paranoia, the Soviet Union responded as only it could, by building absurdly huge things. The MercedesBenz is living proof that if something can be made more complicated, it will be. This Titan not only has 24-wheel drive, yes, you read that right, 24, but each one is powered by its own electric motor. And where does the energy come from? From a gas turbine, as if it were a wingless airplane turned into a truck. Its purpose was to move intercontinental ballistic missiles, and because of its size and weight, no existing transport system was enough. So, well, they built a new one from scratch. Problems? Plenty. Just starting it up required specialized technical personnel. Manuals that looked like Soviet encyclopedias and the patience of a monk. Maintenance was a whole other story. If even a single-wheel motor failed, you had to take apart half the platform and pray for spare parts that probably didn't even exist anymore. It never went into mass production, probably because it was harder to maintain than the missile it was supposed to carry. In short, the MercedesBenz was an engineering achievement and a practical failure. A truck so complex it feels like it was designed by a team of engineers. Thank you. Who hadn't slept since 1982? Latero TC497. Overland train. Imagine a train, but without tracks. Now imagine that this train can be over 170 meters long, that each car has its own engine, and that it was designed to cross deserts or tundras like it was nothing. That's how the Latero was born. TC497. A land train. It looked like something out of a cheap science fiction movie, but it was very real, very complex, and ridiculously ambitious. Each module of the train had its own traction thanks to an electric transmission system powered by diesel engines that drove generators. In other words, it moved like a hybrid before hybrids were cool, but multiplied by 20. So that this beast could turn without breaking into 1,000 pieces, each unit had independent steering, which required a control system that would make any highway engineer break a sweat. If something broke down in car number 8, the mechanic had to walk 80 meters carrying tools, spare parts, and the hope that another module wouldn't break in the meantime. The result? Impressive, but unfeasible. It never went into mass production because, surprise, it was extremely expensive to operate, hard to maintain, and a logistical nightmare. It was a Cold War project that ended up as a monument to excess. Technical excess, brilliant, but only on paper. Citron U55 City. There are weird trucks. And then there's the Citron U55 City. Ramacuris, a sightseeing bus so eccentric it looks like it was designed by someone who mixed French wine with LSD. Built in the 1950s, this vehicle was basically a rolling sculpture with futuristic curves, a panoramic glass roof, and multiple levels, and a look that was closer to the Jetsons than to any functional transport. It looked like a cross between a UFO and a mobile aquarium. It was conceived to offer unforgettable sightseeing tours around Paris, and it definitely succeeded, but not because of its comfort. Engineering? A lot. Practical sense? Almost none. The panoramic windows created a greenhouse effect that could turn the interior into a Parisian oven, and its custom-made bodywork meant that every part was practically handcrafted. If something broke, you didn't go to the mechanic, you went looking for the artist. The engine was from the conventional Citron U55, but it had to haul an enormous weight, which made it slow and thirsty. Aerodynamics? Forget it. It was like pushing an Art Deco lamp. Uphill. Despite everything, it's a gem of retrofuturistic design. Weird, complex, uselessly beautiful. The kind of truck you design when no one says, this is a bad idea. An icon, yes, but also a nightmare for any mechanic. 5. Burlia T100, the world's largest truck in 1957. France isn't usually the first country that comes to mind when you think of giant trucks, but in 1957, the Burlia brand said, "Hold my wine," and introduced the T100, a colossus designed to conquer. Thank you, the Sahara Desert. Dimensions: over 5 meters tall, 50 tons when empty, and an F12 engine from Caterpillar. Why so much? To transport oil machinery across terrain where not even camels dare to go. The T100 was more ship than truck. It had a huge cab with controls that looked like they came straight out of a locomotive, redundant cooling systems, dual hydraulic steering, and axles so tough that special cranes were needed to work on them. Each component had its own independent system, as if the engineers didn't want anything to communicate with anything else. Only 4 units were ever built. A reason? It cost so much to maintain one of these behemoths that it was easier to just build a new road. Literally, you needed a dedicated team just to check its fluid levels and lubrication. And don't even get me started on transportation. Moving one meant taking it apart into pieces. The Burlia T100 was an industrial whim, an oversized feat of engineering. Impressive, yes. Practical, only if you owned an oil company and had money to burn. Fawn SL. T50 Elephant, the German truck that carries tanks. The Fawn SLT 150 Elephant is not just any truck. It's a titan of German engineering, specifically designed to transport armored vehicles and other massive heavy loads, like some kind of transformer on wheels. With a converted aircraft engine, the SLT-50 was able to move 50 tons of cargo as easily as a moving truck. But of course, that engine wasn't there just because of its size. This truck needed raw power to move what it was carrying. What makes it so ridiculously complex? For starters, It has power steering on both axles, which means both the front and rear wheels turn in opposite directions to give it amazing maneuverability. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The adjustable suspension system allowed the truck to adapt to different terrains, which is crucial when hauling heavy loads over rough roads or through combat zones. On top of that, its design wasn't just functional, it was also aimed at making sure the cargo arrived without any damage. But is everything really as great as it seems? The answer is no. While the engineering is impressive, the specialized mechanics of this truck meant that not just anyone could get their hands dirty fixing it. And since there weren't many trucks like this, spare parts were scarce and hard to come by. Maintaining a Fawn SLT50 was a logistical nightmare that required highly skilled engineers and entire teams to operate it properly. This truck is the perfect example of how a highly specialized design can be both an achievement and an unnecessary complication. While it was a champion in its field, in a broader context, its existence could be considered an exaggeration of what was really needed to move tanks. Tatra T815, 12x12 colos. The Tatra T815, 12x12. Colos is a truck that seems to have been designed with a single question in mind. What happens if we take engineering too far? This Czech behemoth has 12 driven wheels, which means it's not just a truck, it's a laboratory on wheels capable of facing the most extreme conditions on any terrain. The Colos not only has a 4-axle steering system, yes, 4, but its engines are located in the center of the chassis, giving it a maneuverability that most trucks can only dream of. Everything about this truck is designed to be excessively complex. Its central tubular chassis makes it tough and very stable, but at the same time, making it functional requires such complex mechanics that most people wouldn't even know where to start. And what about the engines? This truck has its engines arranged in an unusual configuration, something that looks more like a work of art than a technical necessity. The result is a truck that's hard to maintain, extremely expensive to repair, and whose energy efficiency is probably a concept that wasn't even discussed during its design. But of course, the Tatra T815 isn't made to be efficient or practical. It's designed to push boundaries, to be able to carry anything across any terrain, from the steepest mountains to the harshest deserts. Is it a masterpiece of engineering? Maybe. Is it something anyone would want in their truck fleet? Probably not. This truck is the embodiment of engineering without limits, but with so many practical sacrifices that only a true machine enthusiast would consider it useful. 8. GMC Future Liner. The GMC Future Liner is one of those vehicles that looks more like a space prototype than a cargo truck. Conceived in the 1940s to serve as a mobile exhibition for General Motors, the Future Liner was built as a kind of new-era vehicle. With a design that seemed to predict the future, over 8 meters long, and a curved body unlike any other truck of its time, this vehicle was built to showcase the advances of the automotive industry in the 1940s, but also to draw attention with its extravagance. What makes the Future Liner so complex is that it is a technology control system. It's not just its visually impressive design, but also its internal system. Each unit was unique, which means there were no standard parts. Everything was custom-made. And to make it even more complicated, the Future Liner was equipped with a state-of-the-art internal display system for its time, with screens and showcases displaying GM's products. But of course, with so much customization, maintaining and restoring one of these trucks is a monumental headache. There are only 12 units left in the world, and restoring them is expensive and complicated, since practically the entire vehicle was designed to be unique. Nothing is interchangeable. The Future Liner was a brilliant attempt at futurism, but its complexity made it more. A work of art rather than a practical vehicle. Instead of a utility truck, it was more of a rolling spectacle that left its mark on automotive history. Was it necessary? Probably not. Was it impressive? Definitely. Yes. If you ever get the chance to see one in person, you'll know it's a gem of engineering, though a mechanical puzzle of gigantic proportions. The Oshkosh MTT4 PLS is the kind of military truck that's not just built to get the job done, but designed to do it. With maximum efficiency and protection, to the point that it's so advanced you'd need a special course just to operate it. With its automated loading system, this truck can load and unload containers autonomously, eliminating the need for cranes or extra personnel. Think that's impressive? Hold on, there's more. This truck doesn't just haul whatever you throw at it, it does it with independent suspension on each wheel, which means every wheel can adjust itself independently to handle tough terrain, from scorching deserts to frozen ground. The MTT4 adapts with no problem. And if that wasn't enough, it has an armored cab, protection against nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons, NBC, and an automatic tire inflation system that lets the truck keep moving even if it loses pressure in one of its tires. This is, without a doubt, a truck built to survive the impossible. Now, is all of this really necessary? In most cases, probably not. You're not driving a battle tank, but this truck is the embodiment of military tech overkill. All of this means that only an army with unlimited resources can afford to keep this machine operational, because the complexity of its systems requires specialized technicians, constant maintenance, and of course, time and money. The Oshkosh MTT4 PLS is the most over-the-top and advanced version of a truck you can imagine. It's a truck from the future, but also an engineering puzzle that not just anyone could handle, even though it accomplishes its mission with impressive efficiency. While its complexity might seem unnecessary, it's a clear example of just how far engineering can push the limits of what a truck can do. These trucks prove that when it comes to engineering, there are no limits. From the absurdly complex to the incredibly innovative, each of these vehicles is a testament to how far human imagination can go. Which of these trucks impressed you the most? If you enjoyed this and you're passionate about the world of trucks, you're sure to love this one. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos about these giants of the road.